accept that. And let's get started. So come into a comfortable seat, sitting on a block, if that feels good for you. And just sitting up nice and tall, closing down the eyes, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, and just taking in a few deep breaths, feeling the solidarity of the earth underneath you, your sit bones on the block, the parts of your legs that are touching the earth, the swelling of the body as you breathe in, and the release as you exhale. Three more deep breaths in your own time, following the breath all the way up and down the body. Maybe the last two breaths, sipping in a little bit more air as you inhale. And as you exhale, a little squeeze at the bottom, just to squeeze out any little bit of stale air that might be left from the night. When you finished your last breath, just slowly blinking open the eyes. We'll place our right fingertips to the mat. Inhale our left arm up and over the body, parallel to the ear, lengthening that arm out, bending into the elbow on the ground, nice, so that you can really feel the body, the stretch of the body through the side body. And then swapping over to the other side. So really stretch through that top arm, engaging the muscles in the arm. And one more each side. Over to the other side. And then coming back up, interlocking the fingers in front of you, turning them back inside out, and then rounding your back towards the window behind you, giving the belly a little squeeze towards the spine. Inhale, sitting up, palms towards the ceiling, pulling in the ribs and lengthening out through the arms. And then exhaling, rounding the back. One more, inhale up. Shoulders away from the ears. And then exhaling, just letting the fingers float apart and coming behind you, interlocking the hands there, squeezing the palms together, opening through the chest. Maybe a little bit of a sway side to side. Maybe bringing your torso towards your right knee, all the way across. Make sure you're engaging your belly to the spine. And then back the other way, torso towards the left. And then coming to stillness, squeezing the shoulder blades together. See if you can open the chest and bring your fingertips or your thumb tips to the mat behind you. So the mat behind you supporting you, but it's just allowing you to open up through the heart, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, releasing, giving it a bit of a shake, removing the block, and coming onto all fours. So let's just start this morning by putting the back of the hands onto the mat, fingertips facing towards you. If that's too strong, you can do one hand, then the other, maybe a little rock side to side, maybe a little squeeze of the fingertips towards the center of the palm. And then as you release, bring the fingertips out to face the side of the mat. Nice. And then just doing some circles around the wrists, one way, a couple one way, like 3 times one way. So move around the wrist, so back to the sides, in front, and then the other way. And then bringing the fingertips back to face the front. We'll just do 3 traditional cat-cows. So dropping the belly towards the mat, tucking the hips up. Think about that tuck of the hips today. So it's like you're curling your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Opening through the chest, squeezing the shoulders, and then reversing. Drawing the sit bones in first and rounding up from your sit bones all the way up the back, rounding at the top, chin to chest. Just pause there for a moment. It's morning, we're stiff. Just take a breath in this angry cat shape, just allowing yourself to bring some breath to the muscles around the back. And then exhaling, opening up for your cow pose. So curling the hips up towards the ceiling, opening through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades, and then reversing that. So tucking the hips first, rounding from your first vertebra all the way up to your neck, tucking the chin at the top. One more. Opening up, rounding up. From there, we'll tuck the toes, lift the knees just a centimetre off the mat, engaging the belly, and then knees down, cow pose. 2 more like that. So sucking the belly to the spine, lifting the knees off the mat, curling your upper back towards the ceiling, rounding your upper back towards the ceiling, knees down, cow pose. 1 more like that. So neutral spine, belly to spine, lifting the knees, rounding the upper back. And then gently coming into your downward facing dog. Inhale, floating forward to your plank. Bending the knees towards the mat and curling straight up to your downward dog. Inhale, floating forward to your plank. Bending the knees towards the mat without touching. Downward facing dog. Let's do 1 more like that. Inhale, floating forward. Bending the knees towards the mat. Curling the hips up towards the ceiling. And finding stillness here for a breath in your downward dog. So lengthening yourself away from your hands. That slight curl of your hip bones towards the ceiling, your sit bones. Back of your thighs towards the back of the room. Belly to spine. Think about that slight upward facing dog in your upper back and chest. And see how long your spine can be in your down dog. 1 more breath here. Let it out through the mouth. And then floating onto the balls of the feet. Tiny steps towards your hands. keeping the hips tilted up. When you get there, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And keep a slight bend in the knee. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. You can just bring your feet to hip distance apart in this forward fold. You can have your fingertips to the earth. You can hold on to your elbows. Just feeling the back of the thighs, the hamstrings. Keep a bend in the knees if you like. Maybe sway slightly side to side. And then we'll bring our left hand to the mat, bending the left knee, opening up right arm to ceiling. So feel that twist through the body. Lifting the top arm up. Exhaling, swapping sides. So right hand down, left arm up. One more each side. So left hand down, right arm up. Maybe bringing the right arm into a half bind. Searching for your hip crease. Maybe your fingertips inch a little bit closer towards it. Gently opening the top shoulder up. So thinking about the top shoulder opening to the side of the room, pulling the shoulder back. And then exhaling over to the other side. So releasing the bind. Right arm down, left arm up. Maybe binding the left arm, finding the hip crease, or thinking about finding it is fine as well. And then turning that chest towards the left side of the room, pulling that shoulder back gently. And then exhaling into your forward fold for one more breath. And starting to bend the knees, rolling yourself up. Sweeping the arms out to the side. Fingertips touch overhead, reaching the arms up, belly to spine. Engaging the knees towards the quads, squeezing the glutes. And then exhaling, hands to heart center. Taking a breath here in your Tadasana. Mountain pose, and then bending the knees, sweeping the arms up. Hands down the center towards the earth, and we'll come into some sun salutation. So hands down, stepping the right foot back, stepping the left foot back into your plank. You choose your variation of chaturanga, elbows into the ribs, knees to the mat or not. Upward facing dog or cobra, really opening through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, tucking the hips up to the ceiling, downward facing dog. I'll do two more like that. So coming onto the balls of the feet, walking forward, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, bending the knees. Sweeping the arms up, exhaling all the way down. Left foot back, right foot back, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And again, walking the feet towards the mat. You can float to the top of the mat if it's in your practice. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping up. Maybe a little back bend at the top. Exhaling, forward fold. Stepping the right foot back. Stepping the left foot back. Chaturanga, your version. Upward facing dog. just in your upward facing dog, just sway a little bit from hand to hand, from palm to palm. Think about shoulders squeezing together, opening through the chest. So it's like you're rounding your chest towards the wall or towards me. And then tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Really just finding a bit of space in your down dog. And then coming onto your knees. Sitting back onto your heels. Just taking a breath here. We'll bring the left arm forward, right arm back. So as if you're opening your whole body. Nice. Sitting up tall though, try not to lean, try and be centered in the middle of your body. Lovely. And then straight over to the other side. Think about that twist from the ribs. And then coming back to center, we're going to bring our elbows under our shoulders. And then we're going to lift our hips up and walk into our dolphin pose. So little steps of your feet towards your chest. You can definitely have your little bend in your knees. But think about that feeling of pushing your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Same as downward dog. It's all building blocks. Just taking 3 breaths here. It's a strong shape, strengthening for the shoulders. Maybe you're going to lift your right leg up. Right, nice, Izzy. One more breath there. Placing the right leg, lifting the left leg, remembering to pull your shoulders away from your elbows, making as much space there as you can. Beautiful. And then replacing both feet, child's pose. So taking 2 nourishing breaths here, feeling the breath returning to normal. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. On the next inhale, coming back into your plank pose. So all fours, stepping your right foot back, stepping your left foot back, heels over to the right. Drawing the right waist away from the mat. Maybe your left arm comes up as well. So your feet are staggered, one in front of the other. And then we're going to thread the needle under the armpit 3 times. And that's 1, really drawing the waist away from the mat. Keeping your body engaged. The only thing that's moving is your arm, your top arm. 1 more. Lifting your top arm towards the ceiling, lifting your waist away from the mat. And then exhaling through plank over to the other side. Right arm floats up. Or you can still keep the right fingertips to the mat, but if you can, open, lovely. So again, think about a straight line between your bottom shoulder and your top shoulder. Nice. Lifting that left waist away from the mat. Beautiful. Keeping that and then threading the needle, top arm under the other. Try not to move your whole body. Try to move the arm. Yes, beautiful. 1 more. Lovely. Back to all fours. Walking your feet towards your hands. Let's get off those wrists for now. Bending the knees. Sweeping the arms up and over. Fingertips touch at the top. Little back bend. And coming into heart center. Let's bend the knees. Sweep our arms up into chair pose. Hips back. Chest open. If you've got the knees touching, make sure the big toes are touching and the heels are slightly apart. Squeeze the knees together. Nice. But the heels are slightly apart, not the knees. Yeah. Very nice. And then arms out to a T. Keep your chair pose. Right arm under left. Lifting your eagle arms up towards the ceiling. Taking an inhale, curling your elbows in towards your belly. Reaching back up. One more. Keep the squeeze of the knees, the engagement of the glutes. Opening up, releasing the bind, coming up to standing position. Palms touch overhead. Maybe a little back bend here. So squeezing the glutes together to open through the front of the legs. And then exhaling back into your chair pose. Left arm under right for eagle arms. Lifting the elbows and the fingers away from you, up towards the ceiling. And then as if you've got a ball underneath your right waist, lift the arms up and lean over to the right. Inhaling back to center, over to the left. Back to center, forward fold. Head down towards the mat. Any variation, you can bring the feet hip distance apart. You can stand on the palms if you like, so back of the hands to the mat. Maybe give your toes, your wrists a massage with your toes. And then again, thinking about bending your elbows. Keep the bend in the knees, but think about that little arch of the back, of the lower back, so that the hip bones tilt up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Exhaling, letting it go. Slowly rounding your way up into your chair pose. Knees together, big toes together, heels apart. And then hands through heart center, twisting over to the right. Left elbow, right knee. Pushing the palms together to feel your belly twisting over to the right side. Sweep those right hips in. Nice. And then looking down, feeling the weight in the right foot onto the ball of the left. We're going to bend the knee so that our heel comes towards our hip. So on one leg, left knee bends. Yeah. And then slowly start to lengthen that leg out to warrior three. Feeling the shakiness in the standing leg, building strength to support you. And then exhaling, both feet back together, sweeping up, chair pose. Squeezing the knees together. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. And then exhaling, Standing up, arms sweep overhead, little back bend at the top. Hands back through heart center into chair, twisting right elbow, left knee. So pushing the palms together, sweeping the left hip back behind you. And think about turning your torso towards the left side. Taking 2 breaths here. And then looking down at the front of your mat, weight into the left foot, right heel picks up, bending the right knee. And here in a standing shape, might be very different to the other side. Exhale slowly, lengthening the right leg behind you into warrior 3. Take support if you need. It might be very bouncy, balancy at this time of the morning. And then stepping back into your chair, coming back into a forward fold. From there, bending the knees and bringing yourself all the way down to your seat. Opening the legs up wide. Sitting evenly on both hips. You can sit on a block. I think you should actually sit on a block for this one so that you can get that tilt. Do you understand what I mean by the tilt of the hip bones towards the back? Good. You want to feel your weight on the front of your hip bone, sit bone, sorry, rather than the back. And then inhale, right arm along the inside of the right leg, sweeping the left arm up and over. Are you feeling the stretch out of your left hip? Nice. 2 more breaths here. And then left hand down towards the mat, right hand on the other side of your foot, of your leg, and then turn your torso over your leg. And then start to open your chest towards the front of the room, so towards your foot. Two more breaths here. And then back through center, over to the other side. So sorry, left hand inside the left leg, sweeping the right arm up and over. So rather than thinking about sitting back in the sit bones, think about sitting forward in the sit bones. One more breath here. And then right hand down, left hand to the outside of the left leg, turning the torso over the left thigh. Exhaling, forward fold. Two breaths here. And then inhale to come up. Exhale, walking the hands down through the center of the body, the center of the legs. Coming into your wide-legged forward fold. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Three more breaths here. Feeling the practice starting to slow down. breath and the energy starting to settle. On the next inhale, slowly walking your hands back towards you. Bringing your legs to the original front of the mat. Arms out in front of you. And starting to belly to spine, curling your way down towards your mat. Lowering yourself down as slowly as you can with as much control. And then when you get there, heels under the knees. We'll do one bridge pose. So heels under the knees, palms down, curling your hips up towards the ceiling, pushing through the feet. Feeling yourself coming onto your shoulders, so weight in the feet and on the shoulder blades, squeezing the glutes together, lifting the hips up. 2 more breaths here. And on your next exhale, slowly rounding your back down towards the earth, 1 vertebra at a time. When you get to the bottom, just letting your knees kiss together for a second. And then opening your arms out to a T and gently letting your knees roll over to the right or open up to the right. You can support the top knee with a block if it's working hard to stay there. And then inhaling over to the other side. Shoulders to the mat. Softness in the body, softness in the belly, softness in the mind. And then inhaling back to center, giving the knees a little bit of a squeeze, slight rock side to side. And then gently lowering your legs down the mat. Palms face up or down if you want to feel the support of the earth into your Shavasana. Releasing control of the breath, releasing the practice. Taking a few moments of rest. Rest in the body, rest in the mind. I'll let you know when it's time to wake up. Relaxing the jaw, the eyes, the ears, the belly. On the next inhale, slowly start to deepen the breath. Maybe bringing some movement to the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, rolling yourself over onto one side. And bringing yourself up into a seat. Finding a comfortable seat. Fingers back to the outside of the mat. beside your legs, shoulders down, away from the ears. And then a big inhale, fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhaling through heart center, one more. Inhaling up towards the ceiling. Bringing the palms to touch, exhaling down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you, Susie. Well done. A nice, invigorating practice.
It was a bit